Hey, what's going on, everybody? Yugioh for you. I'm here with my vampire deck profile for you guys. It's pretty much the same deck that you saw in the replays on my channel, and if you checked out the Yugioh Council, you saw over there. Vampire's a pretty cool deck, but I have like other builds of the deck or another build that's basically better than this. But some of the cards I just put in here because I really could. I wanted to try to be sort of gimmicky as I could with this build. So, I just ask you, please don't hate if you think it's a bad build. Please don't hate. I know it's probably not the best build out there. I'm just digging around, seeing what I can do, experimentation. And I figured I'd show you this build instead of the other one because this is the build I was using in those duels. So that's the reason why I'm showing you this and not the other one. But, I will explain my reasons and my choices and all that stuff. So, anyway, let's get started with the deck profile. So first up we have Triple Shadow, 1 Lord, Triple Duke, Triple Sorcerer, 1 Grace, Double Masked Chameleon, 3 Turtles, 1 Armageddon Knight, and then Mizuki. Now the Vampires are explanatory, but we'll go over their effects for those who don't know what they do. So Vampire Shadow, especially on 1 dark vampire monster from your hand or deck, except for himself. If you do, monsters you control other than that monster cannot declare an attack this turn, and this card cannot be used as an Exceed material except for the Exceed summon of a dark monster. So it's pretty much your way to kind of help get out nice rank 8 exceed, rank 8 exceeds, rank 5 exceeds, my bad. Thinking of something else apparently. He's really your main go-to guy for your summoners. But before I go to the other chippers, I'm going to go over Vampire Sorcerer, which is pretty much your main guy. Vampire Sorcerer, pretty much you can banish him from your graveyard, and then you can normal summon vampire monsters without tributing. And also when he is destroyed and sent to the graveyard by your opponent, either by battle or by card effect, you can add 1 vampire monster or vampire dark monster or a vampire spell or trap card from the deck to the hand. So he's a Stratos for your deck, pretty much. He's pretty much the guy who's going to keep things going, to start things going with your combos and stuff for the deck. They have Vampire Lord, which is a classic, lovely classic. Basically, when he does battle damage to your opponents, you can basically make your opponent send 1 card from the deck to the graveyard, either a monster spell or trap. And when he's destroyed by a card effect and sent from the field to the graveyard by destruction of card effect, you can special him to your field during your next standby phase. So he's a pretty nice revival card there, and it's a pretty nice for Dark Hole. I'm only playing 1 because I'm playing the Triple Duke, which is the new guy, which in my opinion, Vampire Duke sort of makes Vampire Lord a little obsolete. I wouldn't say you shouldn't use Vampire Lord because I'm obviously using him at 1 because he's still a good card, but not at the times. If you're going for rank 5, you're not going to summon the Vampire Lord, you're going to summon the Duke. But Vampire Duke's effect is pretty cool. He's the Blizzard of the deck. When he's normal summon, you can special summon 1 vampire monster from your graveyard and face up defensive position, including himself, so you can revive himself and go for rank 5 exceeds. When he's special summoned, you can basically declare 1 card type, monster spell, a trap, and your opponent has to send that from their deck to the graveyard. And just like Shadow, he can only be used for an Exceed summon of a dark Exceed monster. So he opens up a lot of plays. So one of the biggest combos is to go with Shadow, normal summon Shadow, special summon Duke, use Duke's effect and make them send. If you have the field spell on the field, use the popping effect and then Exceed. Attack first and Exceed into like maybe a Braum or something else of that nature. Duke is one of the big heavy hitters of the deck because he allows you to do what you couldn't do before, which is use the graveyard. Previously in Vampires, once your shit was in the graveyard, you were kind of shit out of luck in terms of you really couldn't do anything else. So Duke allows you to have that flexibility in the graveyard and allow you to go for what exceeds. Vampire Grace is a really good card. I really like Grace a lot. She throws me for a loop because some reason some vampire or people who play vampires don't really use her. I don't really understand why, but she's a really good card. But basically, once in return, you can again make your opponent send either a monster spell or trap from their deck to the graveyard, which is pretty nice. And also, if a level 5 or higher zombie monster is special summoned to each side of the field by a zombie type monster's effect, you can pay 2,000 life points and special summon from the discard from the graveyard. So it's a nice way to get this thing in the graveyard, and you can just combo it off with other things like Shadow. It's really, really cool. Masked Chameleon is more of a gimmick. If you really want to do the gimmicky stuff, you can run it, but I won't recommend running Masked Chameleon. This was more of a tech idea. I was just testing it out, and I just fiddled with it. There are there's better cards to play instead of Masked Chameleon, but it's a fun card to use. Don't get me wrong, I do like using Masked Chameleon, but this is more of a gimmick if anything else. Pyramid Turtle, your big floater, he can special summon anything from the deck pretty much, from your Grace to your other Shadow, your Vampires, to things like Mizuki and Sorcerer. There's a lot of things Pyramid Turtle can actually special summon, so he's just your average floater. The Armageddon Knight, so we can get things going. One of the things that Vampires do falter in is if you don't have a Sorcerer Engrave, you can kind of have a slow start, and you're kind of hurting. Armageddon Knight does help get that Sorcerer Engrave and starts to get things going. Mizuki's Mizuki, special summons your Vampire, special summons just stuff you can just go off on. Mizuki is awesome. For the spells, we have a triple Vampire Empire, we have a Dark Hole, double MST, double Duality, one Allure, 2 Book of Lives, Foolish Burial, and a Burial from a different dimension. The reason I'm using Burial is because it recycles Mizuki, recycles Sorcerer. Enough said. Vampire Emperor is a pretty cool card. Of course, all your zombie monsters all zombie monsters on the field will gain 500 attack when they attack or are attacked. And whenever your opponent sends a card from the deck to the graveyard, you destroy 1 card on the field, and then you send 1 Dark Vampire monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard. So it's basically just a nice popping ability in Death Ninja deck. It is a once per turn effect, which is nice because there's been multiple times where I could easily get rid of about 3 cards on my opponent's field if it wasn't once per turn. So I'm gonna ask back in because it would have been freakishly amazingly stupid if that was the case. I do like the fact that it gives your Vampires a boost, so they're not easily ran over. I say that loosely because they can still be ran over if the monster is strong enough. I feel like everything was self-explanatory, like the heavy store, the Dark Hole, MSTs. The Duality is there for the deck thinning. I'm going to play 2 because you tend to do special summon a lot in the deck, but Duality is to help get your play started. Book of Life, again, it's a good combo with Duke, and it's just, more revival stuff right there. And Foolish is sort of just like for Armageddon Knight, it just gets my things going. So for the traps, we have Double Shift, 1 Warning, 1 Chuncho, Bottomless Compulse, and Double Mirror Force. These traps right here are self-explanatory, but Vampire Shift, which is a pretty cool card. If you have no cards in your field card zone, and all face-up monsters you control, minimum 1 are zombie types, activate Vampire King. You activate 1 Vampire Kingdom directly from your deck, then you can special summon 1 Dark Vampire monster from your graveyard in face-up defensive position. You can only activate 1 takeover per turn. So, pretty much is your way to kind of get rid of field spells. It's a great card to use against things like Dark Worlds and Dragunities, or if you're playing the Dragon Ruler Dragunity build, but pretty much, you can get over their field spell and just make them go minus, which is really freaking hilarious. And it's a Call the Haunted as well. This thing has a lot of good things going for it, and I really like it a lot. It's a pretty cool trap card, and it's chainable. So the image, you can just chain it and get a free field spell. It deck things your deck by a card, which is nice. So that's it for the main deck. For the extra, we have the double Adrius, triple Braum, double Shark Fortress. We have a Black Shippercorn, Dire Wolf, the Jin, Lava Chain, Gaga Cowboy, Gusto Emerald, and 2 Kinanjo. I think that's how to pronounce it. So the extra experience is self-explanatory. I'm not playing Tires, Vulgar Swords, or anything like that because I'm not really going to bring them out because of that Shadow and Duke can only go for Dark Exceeds. So it'll be a waste of space. One of your main cards you're going to go from the extra deck is Braum, because he's your big heavy hitter. Braum being able to go up to 3,000 attack with the field spell on the field, plus he's your Monster Reborn, which allows you to revive your monster in your opponent's graveyard. Downside is only that monster can actually attack, but hey, you get some free monsters, it's the best combination. And when Braum is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, during the next standby phase, you can basically get him back to your field face defensive position. So it's a good combo with things like Graves and Shadow Vampire and stuff like that if you don't have the Sorcerer Engrave at that point in time. Shark Fortress self-explanatory are pretty much good, just a little bit OTK type of deal, and A, just the pop shits. I'm running some level 4s because of the fact that I do have level 4s, I have the Armageddon Knight, the Pyramid Turtles, Mizukis, I do have those options to go into these cards, so they're always good to have. Lava Chain sets up a lot of plays, and Emerald is basically my recycler, recycle back my shadows and stuff like that, and allow me to kind of continue with my exceeding ways. And the level 9 Synchro because, well, I'm playing Mass Chameleon with level 5s. Like I said, it was more of a gimmick type of deal, but it's really fun when you pull it off, because it's something your opponent never really would expect to see coming, and it's really, really hilarious, their reaction. It's a pretty cool card. It gains attack and defense for each non-tutor monster used, so it's going to go up to 3100 attack, which is sort of scary, but it doesn't have anything really too beneficial. It's just a big beat stick, but that's pretty much about it. But sometimes you do need a big beat stick. But like I said, it's just any type of deal. But anyway, this is the vampire deck that I use in the duels. I'll probably have another one uploaded, as well as I'll probably talk about a little discussion video about what I think about the vampires and the future of them, and whether or not like how well I think they'll do in terms of the meta. I'm not gonna go too much detail like in terms of next format. I'm just gonna go like briefly talk about them, but. Anyway, if you have any ideas, suggestions for the vampire deck, like I said, I have another one on DevPro. I'm on Pure C right now, just because I built this on Pure C. So I have another build on there. That, in my opinion, it's much more better. Me and Ryu from the Yugioh account, so we both kind of go back and forth on vampire deck. So I have that on DevPro as well. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile and more deck profiles to come. I have a lot I've got to do. So anyway. Comment, rate, subscribe, and bye.